Last week, Drew McIntyre expressed his disappointment with Seth Rollins giving Jey Uso a World Heavyweight Championship title shot before hitting him by hitting him with a Glasgow Kiss headbutt. Tonight, Seth freaking Rollins and main event Jey Uso fought for the World Heavyweight Championship while the Scottish Warrior battled Sami Zayn. The Creed brothers already earned a shot at the tag team championships held by Finn Balor and Damian Priest, but they had to go through JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio on tonight's show. The women's division also got some attention when Shayna Baszler took on Nia Jax, and Tegan Nox and Natalya faced Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We may be awaiting the presence of the Phenom Michael Bullock. If we get him, if he comes in, we will catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we will we'll have him back with us. We'll hope to have him back with us Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness. Monday Night Raw live tonight from the MVP Arena, formerly the Knickerbocker Arena, formerly the Pepsi Center in Albany, New York, on the USA Network. And we started the show like Monday Night Raw always does, with an in-ring promo segment. It was Drew McIntyre cutting a promo, interrupted by his opponent this evening, Sami Zayn. They had a talking segment here, and I'll tell you what, this was a very good opening promo. McIntyre decided he did not want to wait for their match to be later in the night, and he ordered a referee to come out, and they got things going, which Sami was up for. McIntyre is already adjusting nicely to working as a heel again. He began, and as far as the match is concerned, it was Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn 2-for-1 segment like we always do, or we've always done in the past, and Drew McIntyre won the match in 20 minutes and 10 seconds. Wow. 4.25 to 4.5 stars for the match. And like I said, McIntyre is already adjusting nicely to working as a heel again. He began focusing on Sami's knee once he saw him favoring it. And as the ref was trying to check on Sami, McIntyre drilled him with a Claymore to get the win. This was a fun way to start the show. 20-minute talking segments are the norm, but giving the fans an entertaining match to get things going is going to raise the energy of the crowd. Sami Zayn hit a really nice tornado DDT to counter a sidewalk slam, and one of Drew McIntyre's suplexes sent Sami Zayn from ring post to ring post. Incredible match to open the show. Like I said, 4.25, 4.5 stars. Incredible way to open the show. I mean, a great way to set to start the first hour here. I mean, a great promo segment followed up by an equally great match. Say what you want about talking segments, and I honestly prefer to have matches open the show. I know promo segments are a necessity to, for storyline progression and all that, but and I usually, say they're, a little on the unnecessary side. But this was one of the rare times where I could accept it, because you got to go back and watch this promo, man. This promo was really well done. And then, as if that great promo wasn't great enough, they give us a 20-minute match on top of that. Papa H, we love you, man. We love you. Keep it up. You think Vince would have done this for us? Hell no. That match would have been over in 5-10 tops. But we got 20. That's almost the length of a premium live event, a pay-per-view. And we got that on free television here tonight. Not once, but twice. I'll explain later. But incredible way to start the show. Great promo, great match. 4.25, 4.5 stars. I don't know what else there is to say except good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Wow. A nice promo segment to start. And then on top of that, Drew McIntyre defeating Sami Zayn 20 minutes and 10 seconds on free television here tonight. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I will say 3.5 stars to 3 3/4 is my rating. That is an absolute amazing way to start the show. Yeah, and the thing is everybody served its purpose really well, and then yeah, we had a couple of things that was going on, and yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So yeah, Anthony, it's yours. I thought this was really good.
Oh yeah, there's plenty more where that came from. A video package, a Jey Uso video package that was very well done. But then again, we already knew that because we've known all these years about how great their production team is. Another top-notch effort from them. But turns out things weren't over between Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. They end up having a backstage brawl. And Drew McIntyre beat the hell out of Sami again. That said, the question now is whether this was an injury angle. Was it meant to write out Sami for a reason? Or if it's going to be an injury that his character will bounce right back from. We're just going to have to check on that. No question about that. Nia Jax squaring off against Shayna Baszler. We know this story. Both of these women, of course, at one time co-holders of the Women's Tag Team Championship a couple of years ago. Not anymore. They went from tag team partners to fierce rivals, and Nia Jax wins the match in roughly an even 12 minutes. But after the match was over, Becky Lynch comes out. MF, I think we found the man's next feud here.
And the thing is, there's some unfinished business between Becky Lynch and Nia Jax.
5 years in the making.
Yeah, because they never really had a chance to settle that one. Because after Becky got her nose broken by Nia Jax, they never really had a chance to finish that story. Looks like we're going to get to finish it now. And you saw Nia kind of looked like she saw a ghost. 3.5 stars, no doubt about it. And yeah, game on. Here we go. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Definitely. 3.25, 3.5 for me. The irresistible force used her size and power advantage to ground the former MMA fighter at first. But Baszler occasionally found a way to use her striking ability to fire back. This match was decent, but there wasn't much outside of a German suplex from the middle rope that people will be talking about tomorrow. And there was a scary moment when Nia Jax landed right on Shayna Baszler's head after a German suplex. Hopefully Shayna's all right from that. But other than that, 3.25, teetering on 3.5 stars. So with that being said, we move on to our next match. Let me just see if there's any extra business here. Then they obviously showed the video package about CM Punk returning at the Survivor Series, along with his appearance on Raw last week in Nashville. And Michael Cole said CM Punk is now one of the most sought-after free agents in WWE history. And of course, we all know what's going to be happening this Friday night. Michael Cole promoted that CM Punk will be on SmackDown this Friday night when it comes to our neck of the woods, the Amica Mutual Pavilion in Providence. And, MF and I, Michael Bullock, and another friend and a good friend of MF's who will be joining us, along with some other dear friends of ours. I mean, oh my goodness gracious. I'm going
to say it right now for all the fans in Rhode Island. This is the hottest ticket to get right now. There is not many seats that are going to be left. When news came out that CM Punk was going to be coming to Providence, Rhode Island, and this show, this is tribute to the troops. This is going to be a wild week here in the Rhode Island area, because not only are we going to have because of the fact that this week is tribute to the troops because of the Army-Navy game that we'll get into that on, I believe he said we were going to get that on Thursday.
Yeah. And that's
We
gonna
are
start
going
the
to
show.
have basically this city is going to be a home base for the Naval Academy, where the Army, their home base is in Boston. But yeah, Boston is where the Army is going to be residing. The Naval Academy is coming to Providence, Rhode Island. But they have all been invited to tribute to the troops this Friday night.
Wow. Oh man, that's gonna be
We
something.
will have possible military presence in the building.
Of course. I mean, it is tribute to the troops. I mean, it started 20 years ago. At this time, 20 years ago, the brainchild of Hall of Famer John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL. In case anybody has lived under a rock all these years and doesn't know how the whole tribute to the troops thing came about. Brainchild of one JBL, back when he was simply known as Bradshaw, when he was a part of the APA with Ron Simmons, Farouk, and he's the one who orchestrated this whole thing. He put this whole thing together, and what an honor that's going to be, for myself, for MF, for Michael Bullock, and anybody else who will be joining us on Friday night.
And I just want to let some folks know, as far as the commentary goes, Michael Bullock will be lead commentator for this event. The reason why, the game is in Gillette Stadium. This is kind of more of I feel like this is more of a New England Patriot thing. So, and normally, traditionally, me and Florio does not really do tribute to the troops. This is not really our event. But because it's tribute to the troops, and because the game is specifically going to be at Gillette Stadium, the home of the New England Patriots, Michael Bullock will be lead commentator for the event. I and Anthony Florio will provide the color commentary for the show, just for you fine folks to know.
And that's for tribute to the troops, correct?
Just for tribute to the troops, yes.
You and our dear friend Eric Carrier will be working the Army-Navy game like you've always done.
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. That threw me off a little bit, but all right. I appreciate the clarity on that. So there you have it. So yeah, that would have been news to Bullock if he was here. So yeah, but don't worry, we will let him know behind the scenes or whenever we next see him or hear from him. Or we could just, or it could end up being Friday night for all we know. But I got a feeling we'll see him before then. So, but anyways, just wanted to address that elephant in the room. So, now let's get into the next round of business here. Tag team matchup: Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, DIY, squaring off against Imperium's Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. MF, Intercontinental rules. We know what that means now, don't we, Monsoon?
For the next 2 out of 3 falls.
Yep. There you go. First fall. Imperium wins the first fall, 4 minutes and 40 seconds. 5 minutes and 20 seconds later, DIY even the bout at 1 fall apiece. Total time at that point, and even 10 minutes. The winners of the match in a total time of 15 minutes and 10 seconds, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, win the matchup. Wow. Another incredible match. Imperium have been fighting with DIY for weeks, so a 2 out of 3 falls match was booked to potentially settle their feud. As expected, this was a great example of tag team wrestling. Imperium might be on the verge of imploding, but at least WWE has done a good job positioning all 3 members of the group as solo acts. Giovanni Vinci hit a running crossbody that looked amazing. He was moving very fast and took Tommaso Ciampa down hard. Johnny Gargano's fake out kick is always a fun moment in a match. Ludwig Kaiser's facial expressions are always on point. 3.5 stars for the match, and big win for DIY. Now you got to start considering them when it comes. You got to put them in contention. You got to put them in the picture for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. A win like this will definitely vault them up the standings. No question about that.
It does.
I'd probably say right now they're right around that 2 line right now, because we already know the Creed brothers have a guaranteed shot down the road. We just don't know when that is as of yet, but it will happen eventually. So it could. I mean, we don't have many Raws left. We only have at least 2 that I know of. Next week in Cleveland, and then the following week on the 18th, I believe it's in Des Moines, Iowa. The 25th, of course, is Christmas, and it's either going to be a taped Raw or it could be a best of show. We don't know what they're gonna do with that as of just yet. We'll keep an eye on it, but
we might need to wait until next week, because that's when we'll find out about it. Because they'll normally they or the week before they'll say something.
Yeah, they will. It hasn't been said yet, but the Creed brothers do have a chance. But this win for DIY tonight just definitely vaulted them up and gives them a case, gives them an argument for why not us. So that's all I can say on that. So 3.5 stars for the totality of the match. So as a whole, I should say. So not much more to say. MF, Intercontinental rules, DIY wins in a total time, 15 minutes and 10 seconds.
Amazing match. Great battle. Great fight. No doubt about it. Like you said, this was definitely one of the top bouts of the evening. 3.5 stars. Really nothing more to add. So yeah, it's all yours, Florio.
All right, MF. We move on. A lot of backstage stuff. And coming up, the other big women's match, tag team action. MF's favorite female tag team, Kayden Carter and Katana Chance, squaring off against Tegan Nox and Natalya. Kayden Carter, Katana Chance, winning the match, 4 minutes and 45 seconds. MF, I mean, first off, it's your girls, because I know how much you love Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. I mean, yeah, it's well documented from all those NXT reviews we did. We talked about a few minutes ago how DIY put themselves in firm position for a future tag title shot down the line with their 2 out of 3 fall win over Imperium's Vinci and Kaiser tonight. Carter and Chance with this win, why not them for a future women's tag team title match against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven?
I agree. I mean, they haven't really had that many moments or opportunities to go after the belt. And I think, a win like this definitely does help them out. It does actually push their cause for at least a look-see at the titles. We'll have to wait and see if they actually do decide to pull the trigger or not. But no, at the end of the day, I thought they did a really good job. This was a good matchup. We know Natalya and Tegan Nox had an opportunity at the titles. Maybe this does open the door for the Kayden and Katana to be the next in line for the title. So we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, I think they did a really good job. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, I would say about 2.5 to 3, and it's yours.
Yeah, 2.25, 2.5 for me. This was a short but energetic match. Natalya and Tegan Nox still need to work on their chemistry as partners, but Carter and Chance helped carry the load in that respect. Carter and Chance ended up scoring a somewhat unexpected win by hitting a unique double team finisher on Natalya. The majority of the match was right down the middle, but the finish was excellent. When Natty powerbombed both women at once, their heads came very close to hitting each other on the way down. And the way Carter held Chance up before dropping her on Natty for the pin looked awesome. And like I said earlier, DIY's win over Imperium tonight definitely shoots them up the tag team rankings on the men's side for a possible undisputed tag team championship match down the road in their regard. Maybe not this year, maybe sometime next month, maybe sometime in the new year, possibly. we'll have to wait and see what they say about Chance and Carter. But a win for them, I think they definitely made their case. I think they have there's a great chance for them to go after to be the next to possibly be the next challengers for Chelsea Green and Piper Niven down the line for the women's tag team championships. So that's their. I can't remember the last time they had a win of this magnitude. It's been a very long time since Chance and Carter had a win this significant.
Maybe you have to go all the way back to maybe the days of NXT when they won the titles. I think that's the last time. Huh?
Sad but true.
Yeah. I think that's the last time that we can legitly say was really the last golden moment that I hate to say that Katana and Kaden has had in the company. There's been a couple of wins, but nothing in a significant way until now. So, yeah, this was the first meaningful victory for them, to say the very least.
Positively. So, 2.5. I think that's the best I can go. Fun little sprint. By default, it was the worst fight of the night. So, even though it wasn't remotely that bad, but it's just that all the other matches were just that damn good. In-ring promo, another in-ring promo, Cody Rhodes. And then Nakamura video package. Another one of those things in subtitles with Nakamura. And, of course, it showed the clips of both men winning the Royal Rumble. Of course, Shinsuke Nakamura winning the men's Royal Rumble back in 2018. And Cody Rhodes winning the men's Royal Rumble this past year, this past January. Definitely the odds-on favorite to do so again in next month. So, but then again, you never know. I mean, if they decide not to go with Cody, Cody could always, get his second chance at Roman through the Elimination Chamber in Australia in February. So, but for right now, Cody and Nakamura, brief segment here. And next Monday night in Cleveland on Monday Night Raw, we're finally going to get the match. Cody Rhodes, one-on-one with Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh, Cleveland. That's all I'm going to say. What a moment for Cleveland. So, that's really all I can say there. So, we move on to the next match. Tag team action. The Creed brothers, the number one contenders for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, going up against the other two members of Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. Creed brothers win the match, 11 minutes and 15 seconds. This was another 3.25 star match. After the interactions he had with the group last week, it looks like WWE is going to have like R-Truth act like he is a part of the group, which will undoubtedly lead to some hilarious moments. This was a high-energy, fast-paced match with a lot of enjoyable sequences and spots. The Creed brothers are on another level, especially when they have smaller opponents that they can throw around. The Brutus Bomb ended up getting them the win as they prepared to challenge Damian Priest and Finn Balor for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. I just have one question. Can WWE please start putting Ivy Nile in matches? Enough said. And the way Brutus Creed launched Dominic Mysterio over the announce table looked awesome. And one other observation, you noticed R-Truth and his funny ha-ha nonsense sitting out there. But I'm going to give him a pass because of the fact that he had on his shoulder the Buffalo Bills Legacy Championship belt that you can buy on WWEshop.com. I don't know if he's a Buffalo Bills fan, but if he is,
I think he was just looking for the cheap pop. That's all.
Yeah, because Albany is almost somewhat near Buffalo in that Niagara Falls area. So that's probably why he had that Buffalo Bills Legacy Championship belt. So, that's the only other observation I had. 3.25, 3.5 stars for the match. So with all that being said, MF, Creed brothers continuing to look good as, like I said, they took care of McDonough and Dom tonight. And eventually down the line, the biggest match of their entire professional wrestling careers when they eventually square off against Damian Priest and Finn Balor for those undisputed tag titles.
Yeah, no, impressive performance, no doubt about it. Big win for them as well. Like you said, this was a good momentum for them. About another 3.25 stars. I definitely agree with that. And there's really nothing more to say. Anthony, it is all yours, man.
All right, MF. And let's see. I do believe it's main event time. Of course, next Monday night on Raw in Cleveland. Of course, you already know that big match with Cody Rhodes squaring off against Shinsuke Nakamura. And guess who else is coming to Cleveland? The best in the world, CM Punk. Okay, Cleveland, we see you. But don't mind if we have our fun on Friday night. That's all I'm going to say. And believe me, we are going to, and then some. Main event of the evening, the big one. For the World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Seth freaking Rollins, defending the title against main event Jey Uso. The winner of the match, 22 minutes, 25 seconds, and still the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Whoa. So, but as expected, Drew McIntyre came out, but thankfully it was after the match, not during the match. I was worried beyond belief that Drew was going to ruin this match. Thankfully, Papa H and the creative team said they obviously were like, we're going to give these fans a damn good match. And yeah, you did. So McIntyre lays out both men, and then he gets in Jey Uso's face and simply told him, and I quote, "The truth will set you free." Nothing more to say. MF, Seth freaking Rollins, winning the match, 22 minutes and 25 seconds, retaining the heavyweight championship of the world.
Yeah, look, it was a good match. It was a clean win, but not a forceful victory, or not the greatest victory in the world if you're Rollins. You had to grit this one out, had to go through it. Absolute great performance, to say the very least. But Seth Rollins deserves the right and the moment to say that he is still the World Heavyweight Champion, and a gamed effort by main event Jey Uso. He absolutely made the match better than what it looked. And at the end of the day, yeah, we have the result, and incredible match. And yeah, congratulations to Seth Rollins. But like we said, the one thing that we were legitly so worried about was the interference or the interjection of Drew McIntyre. At least in the eyes of Drew, he was able to keep it and stay out of it. And that's one thing that you got to give credit where credit's due to WWE. They easily could have had McIntyre come in, destroy the match, interfere, and have the fight thrown out. Easily, that could have been an easy call, but to have Seth beat Jey Uso, so now Jey is out. He's out of the picture. Now McIntyre can focus on getting a shot at the World Heavyweight title, and there's nobody else at the moment that will be threatening main event that will be threatening Drew McIntyre. McIntyre now has a free run at the belt because Jey Uso lost clean. He's now out of the picture for the World Heavyweight Championship at the moment. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, it is yours. 3.5 to 4 for me.
With all due respect, I think you underscored this one a little bit, MF. If I'm going to be honest with you, this was my fight of the night. 4.5 stars is my rating for this. They had close to the last half hour of the show, so the champion and challenger had more than enough time to put together a fantastic main event. Both men were using everything in their respective bag of tricks to try to put the other away. Jey Uso even resorted to using Roman Reigns' spear, and Seth Rollins tried to use Triple H's pedigree. Eventually, it was the curb stomp that secured the win for the Visionary. He and Jey shook hands after it was over to show that there were no hard feelings. As Rollins was celebrating, McIntyre came out of the crowd and nailed Uso with a Claymore. He slammed Rollins on the floor before putting Uso through the announce table. And the crowd gave Samantha Irvin a second to announce Rollins before continuing to sing his song. It was a great moment. Jey Uso hit a really nice DDT at ringside that Seth Rollins sold. Because we all know he was not at Raw last week in Nashville. Bruce Pritchard took over creative duties in Triple H's absence, as he and Nick Khan were negotiating for the TV rights deal, the new TV rights deals for Monday Night Raw, of course. But anyways, tonight's Raw only had 6 matches across 3 hours, but since most of them were good performances, it's going to lead to us giving them a pretty decent rating here. The Creed brothers versus Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, along with Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre, were definite highlights. But for me, the fight of the night was undoubtedly Seth freaking Rollins and main event Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Drew McIntyre has his sights set on both Jey Uso and the World Heavyweight Championship, so it looks like he is going to be the big bad on Raw moving forward, which is the perfect place for him to be right now. WWE has had Judgment Day and the Bloodline doing a lot of heavy lifting on both brands over the last year, so having a solo act like the Scottish Warrior is going to give some more depth to the heel side of the roster. Some of the backstage segments felt like filler, but the majority of what was included on tonight's show did a good job of highlighting the current storylines. I got to give this somewhere between solid 8 to maybe even 8.5. It's right around that 8.5 threshold. But nonetheless, a very good show, headlined by those 2 big main events, bookended by 2 of the best TV matches that we've seen on Raw, maybe in this entire calendar year. Both of them damn near classics. So kudos to all 4 of those men and those respective bouts and everything else in between. Not bad. I mean, we didn't have one bad match on this show. Default worst fight was that women's tag match with Carter and Chance against Tegan, Knox, and Natty. So, but the almost 5 minutes that match got wasn't that remotely bad. So it's got to be at least 8.5 for me. So not much more to say. MF, your overall thoughts, and then I'll get into my Tony's take here.
Solid 8 out of 10. I thought it was a really good show. There was some really good action throughout the night. Promo segments were pretty good. Yeah, there wasn't really anything remotely bad about the show. So yeah, I thought it was enjoyable to say the very least. And yeah, I will give it a solid 8. And we move on to next week's show that's in Cleveland, Ohio. And Anthony, it's your Tony's take, so it's yours.
Indeed. So let's get into my Tony's take now. It's going to be a little different this time around. I mean, it's still going to be the same, but only I'm going to be doing it a little bit differently because last couple of weeks, Impact Wrestling hasn't done remotely really anything exciting. I mean, first it was a best of show, like a Thanksgiving, type show, which nothing really significant happened on that show, to be honest with you. And then last week was that throwback wrestling that they do, that comedy wrestling, that campy comedy throwback wrestling thing that they do. I'm not really into it, to be honest with you. So I am not going to share my thoughts on that. So, but I am sure that they will be back to normal programming this upcoming week, and they should, because this Saturday night they have their final Impact Plus special of this year. This Saturday night, called Final Resolution, and I'm going to have a preview of that in just a moment. So, so with all that being said, let's get into the first order of business this evening, which was last week's installment of NXT Level Up, and I will give you the my brief thoughts on that, and then I will set the table for the final resolution. Started off with Von Wagner squaring off against Luca Crucifino. Von Wagner wins the match, 4 minutes and 24 seconds. Basically a squash, and it needed to be, so I'm fine with it. I love the new direction they're going with Von Wagner here. It was a D. I'm going to give it a D and an S for delicious squash. That's all I'm going to say. Elektra Lopez with Lola Vice in her corner, squaring off against Brinley Reese. Elektra Lopez wins the match, 5 minutes and 10 seconds. A little rough in spots, but it fit in fine as a debut for Reese. She got to show off her athleticism, but Lopez gets the win in the end. And you got to pair her with Santos Escobar again, especially now with the heel turn. So, so there isn't much more for me to say on that. And then the main event. Hope bear with me for a minute. And breaking news, the Cincinnati Bengals have just defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hold.
Flag. Yes, I see the flag.
Bengals indicate that this is
if it's on Jacksonville, the game's over.
I think game over. Jackson. It's over. Cincy wins.
Massive. The Cincinnati Bengals defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-31 in overtime with a second-string quarterback in Jake Browning. Are you kidding me?
Jake Browning had the game of his life, over 300 yards passing, had a rushing touchdown, had a passing touchdown. Jamar Chase over 100 yards receiving, and Joe Mixon also having an incredible performance, 2 touchdowns in the game, almost about, I want to say about 85 to 90 yards total offense. But the big story, Anthony, I don't know if you know this, Trevor Lawrence was injured in the game, an ankle injury for Trevor Lawrence. He suffered the injury in the fourth quarter, and now that AFC South has now opened up because we don't know how long Lawrence could be out. And on top of that, with this loss, Jacksonville only is now 1 game ahead behind the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans.
Don't you just love December football? Oh, my God. That is... I know we're going to have a lot to say about this on Thursday night. Trust me.
And one other great bit of news, and another big great news.
With Jacksonville losing, who's the number 1 seed in the AFC, MF? I gotta do some digging into my archives, but I honestly cannot remember the last time good old MF's Miami Dolphins finished an NFL season as the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Man, I think you got to go back to like I think you got to go back to like maybe 9. It has to be somewhere in either in the 80s or the 90s, because we've never been at this high up at number 1 at this point in the season. I think it has to be like, maybe I have to say somewhere either between the mid to late 80s and maybe the early 90s, because I know there was a year where Miami was there, but I think the highest we've ever been was like number 2, if I remember correctly.
you have been, the Dolphins have been the number one seed. Maybe not in this era, but they were back in the olden days. So
Yeah.
But nonetheless, for the moment, the number one, the road to if the season ended today, the number one seed in the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC would be going through Hard Rock Stadium. Can you imagine that?
And that would be music to my ears because, as everybody knows right now, the Miami Dolphins has yet to lose a game at home. They are undefeated.
But you do have some tough ones coming up.
Oh, yeah. We know.
Remember, you still got Dallas coming in, and you've also got Buffalo coming in.
Yep, we know. Oh, yeah. We definitely know.
And do you think for 1 minute they're going to take it easy on you?
Oh no, we know that.
Especially
we know.
Buffalo.
The thing is that, and here's the thing: and this is all hypothetical, but if Buffalo loses to Kansas City and Miami beats the Tennessee Titans next Monday night, all the Dolphins would need to do is beat the New York Jets in Miami, and the Dolphins will capture the AFC East. That's all they would need to do.
Man, MF, I mean,
it's that close. They would need Buffalo to lose to KC, which it could be possible. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but the way that Buffalo's been playing lately, and especially after what we saw last night from Kansas City, that's not a gimme. That's not a gimme. But if KC does beat Buffalo and Miami beats Tennessee on Monday Night Football 1 week from tonight, the Dolphins' magic number to win the AFC East would be just 1. And all they would need to do is beat the Jets.
Which is pretty much a slam dunk. So, my goodness, I mean,
if that happens, then yes, for the first time in over, man, it's been like 2008. So you're talking almost about 14 years. 15 years. The Miami Dolphins could call themselves the AFC Eastern Division champions. Then, at that point, then it's all gravy at that point, because if Miami loses to Buffalo, no harm, no foul. But at that point, then we're looking at seeding. We're looking to try to be, the number one team in the AFC. So then our focus would be getting the top seed, getting the home field, and obviously getting that first round bye. We wouldn't have to worry about division. But like you said, there's some tough games coming down the pipeline that we're going to have to handle some business.
I just looked into the archives, and the last time that the Miami Dolphins were the number one seed in the AFC, 1984, the last time they also went to the Super Bowl.
All right.
So they finished with the best record in the AFC, second best overall. That Super Bowl 19, had the best combined winning percentage in the history of the Super Bowl era. Miami that year was 14-2. They went up against the San Francisco 49ers in 1984. That Niner team, 15-1.
Oh.
Do you imagine that? So, a combined record of 29-3 going into that Super Bowl. So, but there you go. Cincinnati has defeated Jacksonville, and Jacksonville now drops down to the 4th spot because, remember, Kansas City has the tiebreaker over Jacksonville.
Yep.
Kansas City beat Jacksonville week 2.
And I'll say this, another team that's probably very excited about that result right now is Kansas City. They're probably breathing a sigh of relief because they were afraid that they would have fell to the number 4 spot after that loss. Baltimore had a bye week. Hey, if you're Baltimore, you're probably sitting pretty right now. You're probably very happy with that outcome because you're thinking, here we are. If Kansas City won, if Jacksonville won, we would have fallen all the way down to number 4. And in hindsight, they must be pretty happy for themselves because they end up in number 2 right now. So they're sitting pretty in their division or sitting pretty in the AFC because Baltimore is right now number 2 behind Miami. Miami and Baltimore, I guess it's because of better conference records why Miami is ahead.
6-2, 6-2, 6-2 for Miami, 6-3 for Baltimore.
That's why. So, and the thing is, like we've been saying, Miami's got to go to Baltimore. That game now becomes more important than ever before because consequently, whoever wins that game most likely will be the top seed in the AFC.
Unbelievable. Tennessee, Miami has a 3-game homestand.
Yeah.
Tennessee coming in next Monday night. And then on Sunday, December 17th, the Jets come in. Christmas Eve, you got Dallas coming in.
Yeah.
The final 3 games.
Then it's on the road to Baltimore for that big showdown.
New Year's Eve.
And then they come back home to Miami to say hello to the Buffalo Bills. But at the time, what's the future going to look? Is Miami going to be really focused on winning that game? Or are they going to be looking to rest their starters, depending on what that game? That could be the door for Buffalo, that if they're fighting for their playoff lives, that might be the game where Miami just might lay down and let Buffalo take it. If that's going to be the case, that might be the best scenario for Buffalo. Because if Miami has everything clinched, number 1 seed and everything else, and if Buffalo's fighting for their playoff lives, that might be a game where Miami might just say, you know what? We'll let you have this one. You never know.
So we'll wait
We'll
and find
see.
out.
We'll find out.
Oh man, Thursday night. Special edition, a special Thursday, an special NFL Thursday show this week. We'll explain at the end, but MF and I will run down the future content we've got coming up this week. We got special feature content this week, so we will address it in just a little bit. But that's the breaking news. The Cincinnati Bengals defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-31 in overtime. Cincinnati improves to 6-6. Jacksonville drops to 8-4, and huge win for Cincinnati. Tough loss for Jacksonville, but that AFC playoff race just gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and we're definitely going to have to do a lot of thinking about how we're going to set up our crews for this upcoming week. Trust me on that. But right now, let me finish up my Tony's take here on NXT Level Up. Main event of the show was Tavion Heights squaring off against Drew Gulak, and Drew Gulak won the match in 6 minutes and 8 seconds. It was as solid as you would expect. Gulak makes everything look easy, and I'm shocked we don't get more matches with him and the kids on Level Up. That was a 2.5-star match. 6 out of 10. Squash was kind of fun, and the main event was solid. Middle match was a little rough, but it was a debut, and that's what makes this show a necessity. Easy watch as always. So that's a 6 out of 10. So let's quickly get into I'm going to set the table for the final Impact Plus special of 2023, which is entitled Final Resolution. It'll take place this upcoming Saturday night. Just bear with me for a minute here. I had something on it. Just give me one moment. Okay. All right, there we go. Got what I needed. All right. It'll take place this Saturday night from the Don Koloff Arena in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, just outside of Toronto, and it will air on Impact Plus. It will also be the final live show under the Impact Wrestling banner, as don't forget, beginning next month, the company will promote itself under the revived Total Nonstop Action TNA Wrestling name. A total of 8 matches on the card, 1 on the pre-show, 7 on the main card. On the pre-show, we got Frankie Kazarian squaring off against Sheldon Jean. And then from bottom to top, ABC, Chris Bay and Ace Austin will defend the Impact World Tag Team Championship against the randomly thrown together tag team of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. That's a little interesting. Championship opponents team up as Knockouts champion Trinity and her next challenger, Jordan Grace. Those two, of course, will battle it out at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view next month for the Knockouts championship. Jordan Grace invoking her Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy win for that. So Trinity and Jordan will have to team up to take on another randomly thrown together tag team, the Virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo and the quintessential diva Giselle Shaw. In a Be a Man fight, we got Rhino squaring off against Moose. Speedball Mike Bailey goes one-on-one with Trey Miguel in a battle of former X Division champions. Jake Something goes one-on-one with Jason Hotch. Impact Digital Media Championship will be on the line as the legendary Tommy Dreamer will defend the title against Diener of Violent by Design. And in a highly anticipated tag team main event, the Motor City Machine Guns, World Heavyweight Champion Alex Shelley, and X Division Champion Chris Sabin are going to be teaming up to take on this dream tag team of the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, and his partner, MF, Zack Sabre Jr. So that all takes place this Saturday night on Impact Plus. I'll have the results of the show next Monday night here on Ridiculously Raw. So with all that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. All right. So here's the future content. And MF, if I make it, feel free to correct me if I make any mistakes here. Wednesday night, 10 p.m. That's the next show. Yep. So let's set the table for the upcoming week here. We'll next be with you Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Correct, MF?
Yes, that's correct.
Yep. Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Wednesday Night Madness, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher. And we got a big show. We got NXT. We got AEW Dynamite, that is. A big show in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And we're also going to be previewing the NXT Deadline pay-per-view event that goes down this Saturday night in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And then, reluctantly, we will have to preview Thursday Night Football, which is unfortunately our Zonk game of the week for this upcoming week. The New England Patriots squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers, of course, coming off an inexcusable and embarrassing home loss to the dud Arizona Cardinals. That is pathetic. But we're going to get into it on on Wednesday night nonetheless. Thursday night at 10 p.m., a special Thursday night edition, TXN Sports World NFL Thursday this time around. Time permitting, we'll address the Patriots-Steeler game. But we will also preview the remaining games of week number 14, and we got some huge matchups here. Notable games include the Los Angeles Rams squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens. That game just became a big game. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars squaring off against the Cleveland Browns. The Seattle Seahawks going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Huge game in the NFC West. My Buffalo Bills squaring off against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then, of course, Sunday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. High stakes in the NFC East and in the NFC playoff picture. That all goes down on Thursday night. Why? Because normally we do the show on Friday night, but because of the fact that myself, MF, Michael Bullock, and other friends of ours will be going to the AMP on Friday night for SmackDown Tribute to the Troops show, we will not have a show on Friday night. We're taking Friday night off so we can enjoy ourselves on Friday night. And then Saturday night, 10:30 or so, MF, Braves Fan 95, big cerebral smack talk. We'll review the Friday night SmackDown Tribute to the Troops. We'll also have AEW Collision, and we will also, time permitting, we will also have our review of NXT Deadline on top of that. And then next Monday night, we do it all again for Ridiculously Raw. So with all that being said, that will do it for this. So until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher. And in spirit, of course, the phenom Michael Bullock. And of course, always and forever, the first lady of Talking Wrestling TXN, the one and only Twisted Angel Didi Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody. Bye.